All right, so we're back, and I got one of these little 1/64 scale bugs. They are the cool model. Boom. This is the pack that came in. I did a review on them. Anyways, I I tore it apart. Super easy. There's only like 2, 3 screws on there. Ripped one of them apart. This is my other one. And stripped the paint. And then I ripped apart one of these guys. So this is the RipRush Mini Monster. All the suspension, all that fun stuff. So I took this and I figured, can I put that little body on this guy? And so that's what I've been working on. And so far, this is the result. I'm making like a Monster Beetle here. So it actually fits pretty good. As you can see, I got some modifications to do, but it sits fairly well. Looking around at it, it's nice. Couple things with this. Oh. So I want it to sit right about there. I think that'll look pretty badass. I gotta sit that back end down a little bit, trim off some around there. Maybe, I don't know yet. But yeah, I'd probably trim off a little bit around there. Make a little Monster Beetle. We'll move that up just ever so slightly. Yeah, so it sits right in the middle. We want that wheelbase to sit nice. So in comparison, move this guy back a bit. That's that guy. That's the RipRush. So they look pretty good. I'm going to be doing it. This is my next project. The bumper fell off there. But yeah, so and like I ripped off the front wall. The front end actually didn't rip off. I was just kind of trying to bend it. And yeah, it broke. So I'm just going to get rid of that entirely. Make it part of the, get rid of it, make it just like this. So I'm going to have to put some fender wells in there, make it look nice and clean. But yeah, a little update on the Monster Beetle coming along. All right, looking at our Monster Beetle here. So last we had, it was just all this was stripped down. I've added some green stuff putty for fender flares. I made my own little like extenders for this. So that's the actual chrome bumper off of this one. That little buggy is the Retro Beetle. It's one of the tops off of this. So that's it right there, that bumper. But now I have that, the fender flares and everything. On the front side of things, you saw me break that by accident, so now I gotta extend. I'm gonna extend that a little bit, bring out some green stuff into that. The lights match up fairly good, and that one's going on one of the RipRush's things. So these line up with those back holes there, just like how the rear bumper on the RipRush truck lined up. Boom. So those stick in. That's what lines that up. And we come up to the front, and those fender flares actually like pin it down center. So that's my little mini Monster Beetle. I'm gonna put some fender flares in there so that nothing gets up in there, so it looks pretty cool. But yeah, that's the Monster Beetle update. What it looks like in comparison to a normal RipRush, right there. So it's a little bit, not really like taller, but yeah, it's gonna be that Monster Beetle look. Boom, like and subscribe. Looking at the Monster Beetle. So I have the back end on, the bumper, the little extenders. I installed these little like extended flaring everything around it. So this is just green putty from Games Workshop. Still got to buff this down. I want to make this a nice clean line. And these are going to just be sanded. I got a rough sanding, so I got to keep going down to like super high fine grit. But I took this, flipped around, put the lights in, and I'm going to have one continuous line here. But looking pretty good. We'll throw it on a chassis so you can see what it looks like. It's coming, oh, we'll have to take this guy off. Boom. So it comes in, gets set down in there. I'll squeeze the battery in there. That's how it's looking. That's my Monster Beetle coming along. Again, I'll have to put in some fender flares or all that, but that's the Monster Beetle coming along really nice. I am excited for this build. I'll probably make this guy yellow, and yeah, go traditional Monster Beetle style. I'm liking it. Boom. Okay, we're coming back to the bug. Couple updates. So I've added in screw holders, and I just epoxied them on here. I had to put the windshields and all that in because this would not fit over that, and I needed this brace here to keep it so that when I screw it onto the chassis, it works. I also put in a couple little screw holders and epoxied them up here just to give it a little bit more stability. Got the rear ones in. Now, I had to put in the lights as well, which usually before I paint it, I like to keep those out. But I had to cover them up and do all that stuff because, again, I'm putting in these just as holders. For the front, I've used green stuff. I've been starting to mold it down. I am going to spray paint it just to see where like the high spots and stuff are. And then I'll, yeah, sand it down again and re-spray paint it. But yeah, that's the update right there. Covered all the windows in painter's tape, covered the lights in that, and I'm going to mold this a little bit more than spray paint it. Anyways, that's the update on the Monster Beetle. Keep going. All right, we are back. We are going to be painting the Monster Buggy, Monster Beetle, whatever you want to call it. So this is all extended, painted. I painted it like that rusty brown. We are going to be looking to do like a patina finish, like on the coaches here. We are gonna make it so it's a little bit more paint, a little bit less rust. As you can see, this is a lot of like patina. We're gonna be doing the opposite. More paint, less patina. Or more paint, less rust. So we're gonna start with just a white base. I use an off-white just because that's what I like. So about that color. And then for it, I use little pieces of foam. So I've cut up a big square like that, made little pieces, and I'm going to be dipping them in, and then you kind of just smudge it on there. This is the way I did the coaches. Now, when you're doing patina, what you're looking at doing is actually like where the sun hits the most, like on the top of those, that's generally where it starts to peel the paint and rust off. So you kind of want to go around in the other areas that the sun doesn't hit quite as much, and then yeah, you kind of make it go from there. So again, I'm going to take that little guy. I do kind of just wring it out a little bit on a piece of paper towel, and then you just start kind of dabbing, and you dab. I prefer to dab bottom of car up because like the sun hits the top of the car down, so the paint is going to be going bottom up, in my opinion. I do a lot of the door. I want to have more paint on the doors going up, and then just dab, dab, dab. You just kind of keep doing this. Just keep going, and it all depends on how much paint you want, how much paint you think should be on there. Get those fenders. I'm only going to do around like that. I'm going to leave that rusty. The white is just like a base. So most cars painted white or painted black, and then you build up from there, and then you put on the other color. So it's going to be yellow in the end, but we're wanting little bit more paint over here. Again, this one's going to be a little bit more than coach. I want just personal preference. Get in on those window seals. I do have the windows on this one taped up, so I will be peeling that off when the time comes. But yeah, so I just keep going around, and I will keep going around. We'll see if anything interesting comes of it. All right, so now we're going with a nice yellow. We'll see what happens. Get this bad boy, dip the paint on the sponge. I just kind of dab it off on a piece of paper towel, and then we're going to dab it on there. And I go over top the white, so you kind of want to keep just a little bit of the white, but you want to go over top where you put it. So it looks like the yellow peeled first, then the white, and then you have your rust. So again, go over where the sun doesn't really hit as much. That should be more colorful. Fender wells as well, like those seem to rust out and get beaten up. So I'm going to go a little bit more over them. This is a very bright yellow. So hopefully it turns out, but yeah, you're wanting to just go over that. And I mean, it's like Bob Ross, man. Can't go wrong with this. It's patina. Everyone's different. I would highly recommend, if you're wanting to do this, go look at the vehicle that you're doing it to and see if any of those on the internet have patina already on them. Then you get an idea of where it kind of rusts out. Or patinas out, peels the paint anyways. Then you can go about your business. Cut it in that way. And yeah, I'm trying to get just over the white, still leaving a little bit of it. I will just do random dabs because why not? This is part of the fun. I love customizing these, so. Also, you like my new studio? I think I did a pretty good job on it. After this, I am going to put a thinned out layer of black wash just to get into all the creases and crevices, like the door panels, these here, get in there so that it looks like it's a separate unit rather than all one paint job. I think that black washing it, even like in a different color, makes it just pop a little bit more. Again, this is going to be the Monster Beetle. I remember my dad had one a long time ago. He had this old RC that was painted, but it was like all fancy and like it was a big one. It was a big. Can't remember how big the RC was. But it was a monster truck. Like it was. It would crush other RCs. But yeah, it had a custom paint job. Yeah. Could wear gloves for this too. You get paint all over your fingers when you're doing this. So if you're one of those people that's like, oh, I can't stand it, highly recommend wearing gloves. But I don't mind. I'm a mechanic by trade, so. So that's how it's looking so far. Oops. See how it looks. Once it's dry, I might add some more. Yeah, kind of digging it. I like it. Maybe some more on the hood there. I'll get some more on that hood because I want it to be still less rusty than Coach, but still rusted, right? You know what I'm saying? Picking up what I'm throwing down? Man, I feel sorry for anyone that actually wants to listen to these. I talk a lot for jiu-jitsu, so if you didn't know, I'm coach here and owner of Dark Horse Martial Arts, hence the name Dark Horse RC Garage. It's because I love the idea of it. If you don't know what a dark horse is, it's the person that everyone bets on to fail, to not win, to not make it anywhere, but they still do. And that concept alone drives me. There, I think we got a decent amount on there. Guess we'll see what it looks like after a black wash. But yeah, there you go. Alright, so I got this on. I put the body on. I black washed over top, and then I put a coat of clear coat over it just to protect it. That is what it's looking like. We got the nice patina showing through, the rust colors coming in, and yeah, it's looking pretty good. It is solid. Everything is nice and on there. It is not falling off. It's not going to get broken off, hopefully. I mean, there's always a chance. But that is the Monster Beetle. And I will show a couple highlights. He's already been in a few wars, so I am loving playing around with this guy. Follow me for more.